Next game is Broncos at the Falcons. Line open up Falcons -4. It's still -4, hasn't moved at all. So who do you like here?
I like the Broncos here. I think that this line's just a little bit off. And props to Raheem Morris. He's doing a really good job with the Falcons right now. They're 2-1 since he took over as the interim head coach and easily could have been 3-0. And they're playing harder on defense for him. That's been the big adjustment here. But they still don't have great personnel on that side of the ball. And the Broncos aren't quite as good as people are giving them credit for. I think their defense is better than people give them credit for, and they're getting healthier there. AJ Boye returned last week. That made a little bit of a difference against the Chargers. Granted, the Chargers still played well, but that's more because Justin Herbert is just on a very hot streak to open his career. And I think that the motivation here is bigger for the Broncos, because if the Broncos win, they can get to 4-4, and all of a sudden they're in the playoff conversation. Like, I don't know if this team actually makes it, but this defense is beatable. If Drew Lock can get protected and just avoid getting sacks and being forced into turnovers, I think Denver will at least have a chance to win this game. I don't know if they will, but they should cover. So I just, this number seems too high to me. It seems like a little bit of an overreaction to how well the Falcons defense played in very bad weather against the Panthers on Thursday night. So I'm just going to be on the Broncos here for probably 2 or 3 units, barring bad injury news. I think that they'll be ready for this one. And I think this might be kind of like a wake-up call of like, hey, the Broncos might actually have a chance to sneak in as a wild card in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. So we're 3 for 3 with these picks. So I guess that's a good sign. I was very negative heading into this when you said you liked a lot of underdogs and I like favorites, but it's good to be 3 for 3 in agreements here. Yeah, I like Denver. This line's way too high. I made it Atlanta -1.5. So like Atlanta is not a good team at all. Like they've looked decent recently because Julio Jones has gotten back and they played better with Jones. But they played against some bad teams like the Vikings who are flat after that Seattle game. They beat the Panthers last week. The Panthers are not the same team they once were because they lost K'Wan Short. And then they played a close game against the Lions, who aren't good either. So like this might be a step up for them. And I know that the Broncos don't have a good record either, but you have to remember that they were missing Drew Lock for a few games and they had to start Jeff Driscoll. And so like they just weren't going to win with Jeff Driscoll. So ever since Drew Lock came back, they've beaten the Patriots and the Chargers, which is, I think, pretty impressive. Drew Lock was terrible in the first 3 quarters of last week's game. But he was great at the end, and he's going to be playing a much easier defense this time. I think that could carry over. And if you think about it, outside of quarterback and receiver, I feel like Denver is either even or better everywhere compared to Atlanta. I like Atlanta's offensive line, but Denver's offensive line has played a lot better this year than last year. And then, of course, Denver's defense is a lot better than Atlanta's. So, give me more than a field goal with a better defense. I'll definitely take that. So I'm going to play Denver for 2 or 3 units.
Yeah, so it sounds like we're on the exact same page. And the other big part of this for me is I don't think Atlanta's pass rush is good. And I think the number one way to get in Drew Lock's head is to make him have to make decisions quick. But, if the Denver offensive line can hold up and they can really just stop Grady Jarrett and Dante Fowler, I think that he's going to have enough time to pick apart this defense and, find good matchups with Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Albert Okwuegbunam. Those 2 tight ends are going to be really big in this game because Atlanta's very bad against tight ends.
Yeah, and remember, Calvin Ridley might be out too, so we'll see about that. That'll be a big deal.